Hello, welcome to Salisbury Cathedral and to the reflection for Friday, the 30th of April, the final day of April. I'm Robert Titley, the Cathedral's Canon Treasurer. Now, if you're watching this live, the fairly modest congregation I think we have at the moment who are watching it live, but if you are, then a change has come over the online world that we're part of at this moment. And that change happened 2 hours ago. From 3 p.m. this afternoon, the people of the sports of rugby union, cricket, rugby league, and football have been boycotting the social media as a protest and as a way to encourage the companies who run these platforms like Twitter and Facebook and so on to take a stronger line against the racist and sexist abuse that many people involved in sport have to suffer. Now, that plight of women in sport and men in sport is one that they share with politicians and many other public figures, being targets for some pretty ghastly comments. What we see in social media is really a turbocharged version of what is true for so much of human society, where there are things that contain great potential at the same time for good and for evil, great potential to be enlivening or to be deadly. Take Twitter, the micro-blogging and social network service that enables you to generate text that must be fairly limited in its length. It used to be 144 characters. It's now increased to 280 characters. Now, people use Twitter in a variety of ways. There's the kind of tweet that says, "Look, I'm doing my job." This might be a tweet that's posted, say, by a member of parliament or a bishop, which shows a scene of an event that they're at, and it's accompanied. The picture is accompanied by text that says something like, "So glad to be with the wonderful people of Sleepy Hollow for their iconic annual cheese rolling contest," or whatever it is. Now, a useful exercise, but not terribly interesting unless you happen to live in Sleepy Hollow. There's another way of using Twitter as a means of advertisement, and we do this quite a lot at the Cathedral on our own Twitter feed, which in effect says, "Look, this is happening, come and be part of it, come and listen, come and see." A third kind of tweet we might call the "look at my beautiful life" tweet. These are well meant, but to my eyes at least can come over as just a little bit self-satisfied. This sort of tweet will show a picture of something like a bubbling saucepan in the kitchen with the text underneath, "Cooking up a delicious meal for my wonderful family. Heaven." If you don't happen to have your wonderful family or any kind of wonderful family to call your own, or if you can't afford the ingredients for a delicious meal, I wonder how that sort of tweet strikes you. But it's well intentioned. Then there's the high wire tweet, which is an intervention in some controversial debate. I remember one very experienced politician being subjected to severe questioning in an interview after a tweet in which the author had made a really quite extraordinarily sweeping statement about a big section of humanity, which began with the words, "This is what they do." And by way of self-defense, the person said, "Well, you see, it's really very hard to make an argument within the confines of Twitter." Well, indeed it is, which is a reason for not doing it. It's also very hard to climb the Eiger if you're only wearing trainers. And the way to respond to that difficulty is to say, well, this is a practice that I'd better steer clear of. And then there is the meant, the intentioned bad stuff. Twitter as a conduit of bile, racist, misogynistic, homophobic malice, a kind of sewage of the mind that in former decades was confined to a corner table in a pub, but which is now sprayed around the world if there are enough people to read it. And all almost always accompanied by an anonymous made up name, cowardly as well as malicious. But it's not all bad, and there are absolute gems on Twitter. Just a little bundle of words that are being used to convey something fresh or wry, funny, or even deep, and done in a way so that the small scale of Twitter actually becomes a boon, and it can be a source of delight. There's one particular exchange I made a note of a fair while ago now, but it really tickled me. The first tweet came from the Twitter feed of the Atheist Forum, and it said this: Christianity, belief that one God created a universe 13.79 billion years old, 93 billion light years in diameter, 1 light year equals approximately 6 trillion miles, consisting of over 2 billion galaxies, each containing an average of 2 billion stars, only to have a personal relationship with you. This evoked an answer from the Twitter feed from Little St Mary's Church in Cambridge. This is exactly right. Out of the mouths of babes and the Atheist Forum, thou hast perfected praise, Lord. Very nice use of Psalm 8 there. Another one I've come across is at Scruton Quotes. And this is a Twitter account that gives you a stream of notable writings and sayings of the philosopher, the late Roger Scruton, like this one. Conservatism is not a matter of defending global capitalism at all costs or securing the privileges of the few against the many. It is a matter of defending civil society, maintaining autonomous institutions, and defending the citizen against the abuse of power. Whatever your politics or your philosophy, you can only benefit from spending a little time with that particular particle of thought. One of the best exponents of Twitter who I've come across, and I'm not a habitual follower of tweets, is the Reverend Richard Coles, the media parson you may well know from BBC Radio 4 and other places. He is so good at using the confines of Twitter to open up worlds. Like this one, which he posted during a rail journey on the 17th of this month. 2 men on the train are plotting the downfall of a third. 12 words, and it paints a whole scene for the imagination. God knows we are the custodians of one of the original engrossments or copies of Magna Carta here at the Cathedral, and God knows we need a Magna Carta for social media, setting out the rights and the obligations both of those who write and those who are written about. And such a great charter for the social media, well, it might have something to learn from this New Year tweet from Mike Harrison, the Bishop of Dunwich. He quotes advice given by the late Michael Ramsey to his clergy, but it's advice that works pretty well any time of year, and whether you are a vicar or not. 1. Thank God, often and always. 2. Take care to confess your sins. 3. Be ready to accept humiliations. They hurt, but they help keep you humble. 4. Don't worry about status. 5. Laugh at things, absurdities, yourself. 38 words, 177 characters. God bless. Goodbye.